Welcome to the Bumpaholics Podcast. The Bumpaholics Podcast serves our community by providing education on fertility, pregnancy, birth, postpartum, lactation, and parenthood. The overall mission is to support expecting parents so they can be more well-rounded and empowered to make informed parental decisions in their journey through parenthood. Now please sit back, listen in, and join us on today's episode of Baby Love.
Welcome to Bumpaholics at KCWM. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, MeWe, YouTube, and TikTok. Our hashtag is at KC Women's Ministry. My name is Kristen Mason. I am a childbirth educator, a fertility, postpartum, and birth doula, and I work with KC Women's Ministry.
My name is Cindy Rogan. I am a birth doula, and I am Director of Administration at KC Women's Ministry.
Awesome. Okay, and today we are going to be talking about parenting teenagers.
Yes, the fun years.
Yes, the best ones. So, how do you see the way that you parented your children when they were like young toddlers, young children, reflected in them as teenagers?
So honestly, I was a lot stricter when they were little than I am now. I had this philosophy that every action had a natural consequence.
Right.
So anytime that we were disciplining, I would associate that discipline with whatever had happened. So if we had lied, we got a mouthwash out with soap, which might not be so popular now, but this was 20 years ago.
Right.
And if we, I tried not to, I had grown up in a house with a lot of spankings and a lot of yelling, and I'm not big on that. So we only use spankings for, we have to get the point across now.
Right.
Kind of discipline. We used a lot of timeouts and a lot of things like that, but I was a lot stricter. Like, my kids were expected to be seen and not heard. Maybe not quite to the same extent that maybe my generation was or my parents' generation was, but, they were expected to wait. It wasn't on their timing, it was on mine. And I had a lot of that kind of discipline with them. Now I have 3 children who are very self-sufficient. They're not perfect by any means. Everyone here has heard me rant about my kids.
Oh, no, never.
But they're pretty amazing children.
Yes.
And I've seen them, each of their personalities. Now, on this note, I changed how I parented each of them. Like, every single one of them with their personalities, each one was different. So what worked with my first one did not work with my youngest. And what worked with my daughter definitely didn't work with my boys. So we've been very flexible with that, too.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Yeah. So did you see any of your, especially when you're talking about, seen, not heard, did you see that reflected in their personalities at all as teenagers? Or did you,
No.
They're very heard.
They're very heard. My daughter is quieter naturally. I mean, my children are quieter naturally. I think I just was blessed with that. And part of the reason we did the seen, not heard, wasn't necessarily because it was my parenting style, but it was because we spent so much time with my grandparents, and it was theirs.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. So that was the expectation, and so that's what I enforced. And but at the same time, we would go outside and scream our heads off. And I really tried to teach them to fight for what they believed in, even if it wasn't, we were able to lead more into that as they've become teenagers. When they were younger, it was learn the rules because you have to stay safe. But as they've gotten older and as we've been able to kind of broaden their horizons, it's been a fight, be who you are and be expressive and talk about this. And we're going to be open. And there's really nothing that you can say or do that isn't this going to change your foundation. This is who you are. So
yeah, absolutely.
I really just wanted them to learn that respect of if you're in this situation, you need to be respectful of where you're at.
Okay. Awesome. Love it. So how has your discipline style changed over the years?
Like I said, each child has been different. I really started with that idea of seen, not heard. Consequences always follow what happens. So you do this and this is what happens. And we really did that a lot when they were little, and we enforced that a lot when they were small children. As they have gotten older and developed their personalities and have gotten to know the really amazing people that they are, I've realized that it's not one size fits all.
Right.
What worked with my oldest, who is a very rules-driven person but will follow the rules and follow the rules and follow the rules, and all the time behind the scene he is doing exactly what he wanted to do all along. So he is just taking your rules and he is working them away in a way so he gets what he wants.
That's smart, though.
It is. And he's really, I mean, y'all, he's 20 years old. He's successfully working on his own art career, and I'm really proud of what he's doing now.
Yeah.
So he's pretty phenomenal. And then I've got my daughter, who is a rule follower. She wants to please. She is a people pleaser. And she really likes to color outside the lines on her own, in her own ways. So we have just really expressed how much we appreciate that with her, and have really opened those up for her and let her know that she can express herself however she needs to while keeping a safe space for her.
Absolutely.
We very rarely have to actually discipline her. It's more just, hey, we need to rein it in a little, and she usually will immediately. My youngest, on the other hand, likes to test every boundary. He does things in his time, and we are having to learn that for him it's more about teaching rather than disciplining. So right now we are teaching self-reliance and how to be how to take care of yourself and not depend on other people to take care of things for you.
Right, some self-motivation. And
it's a really hard thing for someone who comes by those things naturally to have to teach someone else. So that has been my challenge, is learning to not discipline but more teach, and then how to teach something that I come by naturally. So it's been rough. It's been fun.
So, having your oldest not living in the house anymore, do you sleep any better with them living outside the house, or?
No. No, I still get phone calls at 2 a.m. with a, oh my gosh, Mom! I've still had to drop everything to rush to take care of something. I still worry about him. If I know he's traveling or I know something's going on, I'm still worried. When I knew he was sick, I was really upset that I couldn't just take him a cup of tea this last couple of weeks, because he was sick and had a fever and he was an hour away from me, and I couldn't just make a cup of tea and take it to his room and sing him his lullaby. So that's frustrating as a mom.
So it's worse, is what you're saying.
It's not worse.
It's not worse. It's different.
It's not worse. It's different. Being a mom of teens has been just absolutely amazing. And being a mom of a kid who has moved out and getting to see all of the work that we've done and the person he's become. You guys, there's just nothing better than that. And seeing him come home and interact with his brother and sister and the joy that they find in each other. Because I promise, if you are currently the mom of kids who are fighting all day long and they are driving you crazy and you think you're all going to be run up the walls pretty soon, I promise there's going to be a day they like each other.
Aww.
So, mine are best friends. They hang out together and they're amazing. They look forward to going to each other's house. And, the work we've put in over the years has really come to fruition.
That's really great.
Yeah.
What is the most creative punishment that you have ever used?
We have done some interesting ones. Right now, because my youngest is having to learn self-reliance and self-motivation. He did get in trouble this last week for not doing homework and then lying about that.
COVID
has really messed some things up. And so we're really trying to make sure that we teach him that, there are consequences to your actions. And if you choose to not do this, you're going to have to do this. And, it's your choice. So in that strain, because he chose to not turn in about 4 weeks worth of homework over this last month, he has now chosen to have some extra chores added on, which isn't that creative. But this week we've had him clean the kitchen's popcorn ceilings. Those were a little embarrassingly dusty. And I'm not really sure how he did it yet. I'm supposed to go home today and find out how well that's done. So he might be doing it again tomorrow.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And then he had to clean the walls in the house in the hallway. And we're going to be kind of working along that theme of, if you choose to not do homework, you're going to have to find something else to do for me because you lied to me about it, and I'm not okay being lied to.
Right.
That is my big rule in the house, is that you can't lie to me.
Yes, that's my thing too. Even just like I have toddlers and young children. And that's my thing. If you come to me and you tell me the truth about it, it's going to be this level of consequence. If you come to me and lie about it and then I find out, it's going to be this level of consequence. And we're going to explain the difference. Had you told me the truth, this would have been what happens. But because you chose to lie, this is what's going to happen.
And that is really something I've tried to enforce with all of my kids. And my older two really caught on to that pretty quickly. They are always pretty honest. They have they've just told me when they're doing something that I'm not okay with, and we've discussed what that's going to mean. My youngest hasn't really seemed to figure that one out quite yet. So we're working on that right now. But that's really one of my biggest things is you don't lie. Like, because there's safety factors in this, because there's trust factors, because this really is a basic determination of who you're going to be as an adult and how people will be able to relate to you. We don't lie.
Right.
So even if the truth hurts, sometimes it's better to say the truth. Usually always better to say the truth. Yeah, definitely. And that's something that can affect them throughout their entire and
all of their relationships, their
it's
work.
It's something that I struggled with myself. This is a lesson I've had to learn personally. At his age, I was doing the same thing he's doing. I just never got called out and caught on it until I was an adult. And it was a hard lesson to learn. And I don't want him to have to learn the lesson the same way that I did. So, but that's most of parenting is these are the same things. It's amazing the characteristics of yourself that you will find in your children, especially the ones that you don't like. That's how it usually goes.
Good.
Yep.
That's exciting. Do you find that they're pretty similar as teenagers than they were as small children?
I like to say that whatever your kid is like as a toddler, just imagine them larger, with more vocabulary and more freedom. That's what you're going to get as a teenager. It's been pretty accurate for all three of mine. What they were like as toddlers is very much what they're like as teenagers, just now they can drive. So,
perfect.
Great things about that. If you've got a cuddly toddler, you're probably going to have a cuddly teen. If you've got a smiley, bright, vibrant toddler, you're probably going to have a smiley, bright, vibrant teenager. But if you have a obstinate, likes to talk back toddler, you might have that as a teenager.
Is there anything you can do to prevent that?
If you figure that one out, you might be a billionaire.
Might be a billionaire.
Yeah. In my personal opinion, I think it's just part of their personalities. And, when they're going through these changes as toddlers, and there's a lot of studies on this, they're going through all of these psychological changes, and there's very similar changes that are going on in their teenage brain. So a lot of the reason why you see those similarities is because they're similar growth patterns that are happening at that time. So loving them through it a lot is what it takes. And, as the adult, a lot of patience, even if it's hard. It's your job to be patient with them and to understand that they literally can't help themselves. They can. But sometimes, just like us, those emotions are really big.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to handle them yet.
Absolutely. The hormones and I was reading about sleep in teenagers and how it's their natural inclination to sleep in.
Yes.
But then we make them get up early to go to school and whatnot, and how much of their over emotion is literally just lack of sleep.
And really, that's a whole nother discussion about how I feel about our education system. But, that's why I let my kids sleep in on the weekends. We don't have a lot of hard and fast rules. Unless you're in trouble for something, you can sleep as late as you want and sleep as much as you want on the weekend. That's something my husband and I had to discuss, because he and I both came from those kinds of homes where it didn't matter. You were up and you never slept past. My dad would get upset if we slept past 10. Like, the idea of that was just horrible to him. My kids are allowed to sleep. If they need to sleep, they can sleep. And I actually encourage early bedtimes, and if they need a late night and a late day the next day, that's fine. We're not It's not an argument unless they're in trouble. Right now, my youngest is getting himself up at 8 a.m., which is horrible for a 14-year-old.
The world is ending at 8 a.m.
It really is. I think he really thought this morning when I came and got him out of bed that I had completely lost my mind. So the look he gave me when I woke him up.
Oh my gosh, that was my dad. He was very much open the window, the bright sun in. He would start singing that song Lazy Bones.
I start with Good Morning Sunshine.
Yes.
A nice happy little tune to it every time. I know it annoys them. And it is hilarious to me.
Part of the point, right?
Yeah, it really is.
That makes it funny.
It really is. I think it's funny when I bug them. So.
Getting joy out of annoying your teenagers.
Yep. I think it's the payment for all the years of them waking me up at the dawn or before. So.
Yes. Keep track.
Yes.
There's an idea. Start checking off all of the days. Keep a tally. And then use them again. As
Yeah, if you could figure that one out, that'd be great. I tell my daughter has figured it out. She just won't show the fact that I'm annoying her anymore because she realized she's taken the joy out of it if she does that. So she doesn't let on that I'm annoying her. My youngest has not figured that out yet, and it's a lot of fun. So I'll sing him songs in the drive-thru to school before I drop him off, tell him how wonderful and amazing and phenomenal I think he is right as he's getting out of the car. I'm building him up and encouraging him. And at the same time, I'm just making sure he remembers those boundaries.
That's amazing.
I'm still mom, even if you're annoyed with me.
Yes. So, what, advice would you give to somebody about parenting just in general?
Don't take anyone else's advice.
There you go.
I mean, there were so many pieces. I was a very young mom, and everyone gave me advice. Everyone. I'd have strangers stop me in the grocery store to tell me how I should be parenting my children. When you're 18, when you first become a mom, that happens. And the best advice I ever took was my own. I know my children better than anybody else does. I know my kids, and you know yours. And you know your family and your family's dynamics. And the best person to parent your child is you.
Right.
That's why they're yours, and you know them, and you love them better than anyone else does. Read all the books, watch all the videos, listen to people, and then parent your child.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a really great talk. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, MeWe, YouTube, and TikTok. We are at KC Women's Ministry. See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for hanging out with us. We loved having you here. Don't forget to hit that like button because you know we deserve it. Leave a comment to let us know why. And since you enjoy this video so much, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. While you're at it, click the notification icon so you're alerted to all of our future content. Your participation and constructive feedback helps us grow and shapes our community that you can be a part of. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials so you can stay in the loop for upcoming videos, live events, fundraisers, and Patreon goodies. As you know, the details will be found in the description below. Thanks for watching, and we can't wait to see you in our next video.